Today on the Chat and Chew
So
Show.
when I was 19, I knew that I was going to do it twice. I
Wait a
knew
minute.
then at
Wait a
19.
minute.
First of all, you said you married at 19.
No. 19, I knew I was going to marry twice.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Roxanne, and today we're making a Caprese salad.
Well, welcome everybody to the Chat and Chew Show. We are excited. Oh my God.
Betty!
I just got the chills, Roxanne.
Did you?
It's like we got like really people here.
We have a live studio audience.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
We coming for you, Oprah.
I know.
Watch out.
Well, as you guys know, the Chat and Chew Show was designed to empower people to do their relationships better. And I always say this, everybody is on a different spectrum. You could be married, divorced, single, still trying to figure it out. And this show is designed to give you tips and tools that you can make your life better. So I've been married, you guys, it'll be 31 years.
Ow.
I know.
Let's hear it for that.
I was only like 2 when I got married, though. No, I keep joking and saying I've officially crossed over to Miss Betty. Everybody calls me Miss Betty. But yeah, 31 years. And I met my husband at church, actually. And I was in this stage of life where I said, you know what? I'm done with God. I'm chasing this one dude around. He's stringing me along. And I'm like, okay, I got to be done with it. And God must have knew I can only like stand it for a week. And like a week later, I met my husband. And here we go, 31 years later. That is just crazy. So if you're out there and you're saying, hey, does this thing work? It can work. It can work. So what about you, Miss Roxanne? I know people who follow the show, they know our story.
Yes.
Somebody said they want the tea. Let's hear it.
I feel like I need a follow-up question. I'm in that whatever you are, that category.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm divorced, but divorced, and it's been like a few years now. And I started dating, and it was a disaster. Like
Okay.
a whole disaster. Like each date.
like each day, like every single date you went on.
It was like its own special disaster.
Oh
it
my.
Was real,
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. If you watch some of the Chat and Chew shows, I think this is episode 12, I believe. 12. We just did 12.
We're on episode 12. Yeah.
12 episodes. I know. We're doing it. But if you
things,
listen to
y'all.
some of the former episodes, you'll hear some of Roxanne's dating stories. I don't mean to laugh, but it just cracks me. It cracks me up. It cracks me up. But yeah, so wow, that's just crazy. So it's not going to just be Roxy and I today talking about giving you tips to empower your to do your relationships better, but we got a special guest with us. And the reason that we have a studio audience today is because the audience members are going to get an opportunity to ask her some questions. Right now, we just have ladies in the audience. We do have a gentleman with us too, who's trying to act like he ain't here. So he gonna be listening in. So we're excited about that. So let me ask the audience: is everybody single? Except for I know our guests, you aren't. But raise your hand if you are single. Okay, now let me find out. Are you single and looking? Oh my, you guys, what I mean by looking, I mean by, are you open to the possibility of, are you available? Like if some Prince Charming, what you think is Prince Charming, walks up, I see our producer Vanessa's all like, oh.
Can I put my hand behind my back?
Like, okay. So are you open? Come on, mama.
She said it.
Oh, come on now. Mama, she said she was. Okay.
Wait.
Are you open?
Wait.
I think that's huge.
Did we say bald-headed? Bald-headed black man. Okay.
Okay.
I thought she said small-headed black man. I was just like, that's an interesting requirement. But bald-headed black man, that's nice.
That's nice. That's
cute.
nice.
Mhm.
Nice. Yeah.
I'll take one of those.
I like that. I like that idea. Are you open? And she said, word up. Oh, she done went back to the 80s. Okay. But I like that idea of, are you open? Because a lot of times,
that's nice.
People, they are looking for someone, but they present like I'm closed, right? So if someone comes up to them, then they present like they're closed. And if, that you do that.
Guilty.
Okay.
What?
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Cool. Well, you guys, this is going to be a fantastic show, so you don't want to miss not one bit. So we'll see you on the other side of the break. Woo-hoo! I love this. All right, well, welcome back, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us here at the Chat and Chew Show, where we empower you to do your relationships better. And at woohoo! That's right. You gotta get used to it. We got live studio audience today. Make some noise, y'all. Yes, we're excited about it, and we have a special guest with us today. And she's going to tell us all about her life and where she is right now. But we invited her specifically to give us some tips, or you guys some tips and some pointers on getting dates and all that stuff. So first of all, tell us your name and what you do for a living.
Okay, so my name is Bridgette Defreitas, and don't worry, I had to learn how to say it too. And so I am the proud owner of Stepping Stone Recruiting, and it's a staffing firm. And so everything about my life is about recruiting, including in your life recruiting the one.
All right.
And so we're going to talk a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. So I have been 10 years wonderfully married. Okay. And so I know you might say, hey, 10 years you've been married, what do you know? But I wasn't always married. I know I look young, but I'm not. And so I'm not. And so I have lots of years that I have been on the continuum, as you said earlier, of the dating. And so we're going to talk some more about that.
So one thing that at the Chat and Chew Show, we are authentic and share as much as you feel comfortable with.
Absolutely, I will.
So you're married 10 years, but were you married before?
Yes, I was married. This is my second marriage.
Okay.
And so when I was 19, I knew that I was going to do it twice.
Wait a
knew
minute.
then at
Wait
19.
a minute. First of all, you said you married at 19.
No. 19, I knew I was going to marry twice because I knew I was going to be foolish the first time.
How could you know that at 19?
I knew, because you're going to hear throughout this time, you're going to hear about one of my favorite people, which is my grandmother, and she talks to me about being foolish in marriage. And so I knew back then that I would do it foolishly and just do relationships without thought.
Wow.
And this is what happens. We embark in relationships without thought.
Okay.
And so my first time, that's what I did. And so my second time, I went back and had some thought. And I'm going to share with you my thoughts. So that's how you get to the place of blissfully married.
Okay. Oh. She's blissfully married. That is wonderful. I know everybody's like, let me take some notes. Pull out your phone so you can take some notes. So, anything you want to ask too about?
Not
yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
Give me, I'm
All
gonna
right,
listen.
cool. Okay, so you've been married for 10 years, and can we hear a little bit about your story?
Oh,
How you
yeah.
guys met?
So before I was married, I had 3 goals. I have a 21-year-old son, and he was about 7 at the time. And I really wanted to grow my career, and I really wanted to buy a house. Those are the 3 things I really wanted to do. And I said, you know what, later for a relationship, I don't have space. I don't have time, I don't have space, and I don't have anything. So as I was working, I met a gentleman, and we were just friends. And he would periodically say, I'm choosing you.
Really?
Woo! I just got chills for a second when he said that. He said, I'm choosing you. And I said, I'm not available to be chosen. And so he said, well, periodically, I'm going to come and put in an application. And if a job is available for me to be with you, I'd like to apply for it.
Wait a minute, pause for a second.
Yeah.
What planet is this gentleman from?
And so I really said, I said, I don't need a man. I don't want a man. I'm not interested in a man. I'm sick of men. That was my space. And how many women have been there before? So you know what I'm talking about, right? And so at this moment, so I was like this. I was totally closed because I wanted to be shut down and didn't have it. But he said, that's okay. Shut down is my specialty. Woo!
Okay. And so where did he live?
Now, a delicious word. Let's chew.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Roxanne, and today we're making a Caprese salad. And so that's your mozzarella, basil, and tomato. And I like this dish because it's a good starter or appetizer, if you will, if you're hosting or if you want to take something to a holiday party. And it looks kind of fancy, but it's easy to make. So we're going to get started by pulling out a nice platter, and we're going to lay out our mozzarella. So I bought the mozzarella ball that's pre-cut, so it's cut into little circles, and we're laying those flat out so that each one has its own place on the platter. And then we're going to add some fresh basil, and I just use one nice size basil leaf per circle. And then on top of that, we just add our sun-dried tomatoes. And so the sun-dried tomatoes come in their own little jar, and I use about 2 to 3 tomatoes per setting, and depending on the size, because they vary in size. And so once you have that on there, I just sprinkle some pepper on top, just over the whole tray. And then I'm gonna add my salad dressing, and so I'm using a balsamic vinaigrette with honey, and shake that up. Pour that over each little place setting to make sure each one gets a little bit of dressing. And then once you do that, you are absolutely done. It's ready to serve. And this is great. It took me about 10 minutes to put together I think it was, 15, 20 of them or something. But it's nice because everyone gets their own serving, and you can cut right through it with a fork. It's easy to eat and a great addition to your holiday dinner. All right, so give it a try. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.
I left out a small piece that I met my husband at the place where we spend a lot of time. And where's that, ladies? Work. And so I said, I don't have any space for it. So he said, that's okay. And so we worked together. And so he would come periodically, and he would say, I was just checking to see if there was a opening, and I would say no.
Let me find out, because I don't know how you guys feel about dating somebody at work.
Yeah.
Like, I would have totally been, look,
No, Coach Darnisha said that we could date people at work. I was there.
So let me talk about it. Right. So let's talk about it, because I'm an HR professional.
Watch the episode.
And so I'm an HR professional, and so nowadays, dating is not taboo at work like it used to be 20 years ago. 20 years ago, if you dated your secretary, no, it's not. It's common.
It is common.
Because we spend anywhere from 7 to 14 hours at work. So where are you going to meet somebody if you're spending 14 of your waking hours at work? So meeting someone at work is not taboo. It's not a bad thing.
Our male audience.
So tell me why
Maybe you don't have anybody you like at work.
Tell me why you say no.
I just feel like that's my space. Like, I'm there so much. You could easily ruin that space for you if the relationship doesn't work out.
Oh, so it's like a safe place.
A safe place, okay.
Our male was shaking his head. That's okay.
Yeah. You want to share?
My second husband at work.
Okay.
No.
Uh-oh.
So not everything for everybody.
Exactly.
Not everything for everybody.
When you do have that chemistry and you work, because I used to work for the government, and
That's
like
the
you
key
said,
word, chemistry. Come closer when I'll be able to hear you.
yeah. So I used to work for the government, but like you build the chemistry sometimes with somebody that you just think your friend, that you think is your friend. And I was going to add to what you were saying. You was like, that's your space, but sometimes when you fall somebody, you don't have no control over that. When you fall for people.
This is true. Sometimes you don't, and sometimes you do manufacture it. And we might, if we have time, we'll talk about manufacturing a relationship. And so he would periodically come throughout our time together and put in an application, as he would say. And I would periodically say, there is no job. Until one night, we were working late together, and I started talking about being alone. Right. I started talking about being alone, and he said, if you will allow me, you will never have to be alone again. And so chills again, and so
Where does he
exactly, and so I still didn't get it. I still was okay, and I had these rules, because ladies, how many have dating rules? I know you do. You have dating rules.
Please
Yeah.
have a rule.
So you have dating rules. So you have some dating rules. So I like to take out rules and call them guidelines.
Okay.
Because when you think of rules, you believe they can't be broken. And so in the dating
Gotcha.
world,
Wait a minute, pause.
Right.
Let's take that
Yeah.
in. So instead of rules,
yeah,
guidelines.
have guidelines, because if you have rules, then it makes you rigid, and then you don't want to break them, because rules make you feel like you can't break them.
I like that.
But guidelines,
That's good.
you can be open to bob and weave, or put some gray in there, or
Okay.
change it up.
So for example, would a guideline be like Ma said, I want a bald head, dark skin? But could a guideline be like black. Okay, black. Okay. But
Stop.
But could a guideline be? Could it be? She finds someone that she falls in love with who's light skinned and bald head.
One
You
thing
know,
that I
when
want
you say
everybody to
guideline,
get.
I want
So
to
let's
get-
talk about that.
Okay.
So when you talk about guidelines, they are specific to you.
Okay.
So one of the things that happens with women all the time is that you have guidelines and then you want to make them mine. And so, or you have guidelines and you're like, no, you can't date outside your race, because I don't date outside my race.
Wow.
But that's your guideline.
Right.
And I'm gonna need you to stay on your page,
Okay.
so that I can stay on my page. So the first thing before you get out there is that you want to establish some of your guidelines.
Okay.
And you don't have to be
Wait a minute.
rigid.
We got to pause on this. Establish your guidelines.
So establishing your guidelines, and so before, a lot of times we have this whole litany. I need him to be tall, and I need him to be funny, good credit, a great car, a great job. So you have
credit.
all these things. So you have all these amazing things, but then you forget, are you the woman that can handle all these guidelines? Let me say that again. Are you the woman that can be the receiver of all these guidelines? And though you don't, this what I call is, let me have a check. Let me have a reality check. Let me so if I want a man with a good with good credit, does he want a woman that has bad credit?
Oh my.
And if that's me, how is it that I can get that man if I don't fit that criteria? Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
And so it's not a dig, ladies. It is a check.
Okay.
And so the great thing is about checks is that you could pivot and move with it. So you can start and say, okay, I don't have good credit, but I want a man with good credit. So let me join some kind of credit program and get myself together, so to speak. And so that's one thing that women sometimes forget, that when they have this litany of these great things that they want men. So this is what exactly, thank you. This is what, so you have to think about, what do you have that's gonna make you palatable?
Yeah.
I like.
To receive
that.
palatable for the man.
It's like, I like that. Palatable. Okay. I like
Yes,
that.
for the man to say, yes, you
Okay.
are. And we're gonna get back, but the thing that I want ladies that you come away with is that in my first marriage, I chose, but in my second marriage, I was chosen. And so that makes all the difference in the world, being chosen. And as strong women,
Yeah.
we like to choose.
Yeah.
Because it makes us, it's very vulnerable and tough to be chosen.
Wow.
That makes you vulnerable, because when you think about being chosen, sometimes we think we can't be, or we're not good enough. It's not true. It's just that story that we tell ourselves. And we all have what's called a dating story. When you're dating, you have this story that you're telling yourself when you're dating. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a story. And we'll talk about that dating story. And unfortunately for some women, the story stops you. It stops you because that guy sees that look on your face. And we'll talk about that when we get to meeting. When we talk about when we actually get to meeting and we're mingling with the opposite sex, and that look on your face tells the whole story before you open your mouth.
Wow. Wow.
This show was brought to you by the Chat and Chew Company. Music by Elwood Jones. Lyrics by Roxanne. Bring a Chat and Chew live event to your organization. Contact us at chatandchewshow@gmail.com.